Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Dimed is Unbreakable, episode 17, Rohan Kishibe's Adventure. Now in this episode, Rohan and Koichi meet up and they discover a road that's not on the map. This road leads to an empty neighborhood, which is very strange because not only was this neighborhood deserted, but there was no way out as they kept going around in circles. Koichi even tries to use echoes to fly up to the sky to find the exit, but something was trying to stop echoes, which surprisingly is not the work of an enemy stand, as they meet this young girl named Reimi Sugimoto and her pet dog Arnold, who has a cut on his neck, a very deep one, and they are ghosts. Yep. They're ghosts. Ghosts in Jojo. You know, it's actually not that surprising, really, that we're getting ghosts in Jojo, considering that in part 3, we've seen souls and spirits before, but this is the first time we're getting actual legit ghosts, not souls that are ascending to the afterlife. And hell, part 1 and 2, we had vampires, zombies, and the Pillar Men, so yeah, ghosts, sure, why not? But the thing is about this neighborhood is that it's actually the border between the world of the living and the afterlife. So Rohan and Koichi ended up in some sort of purgatory world that is connected to this road in Morioh. Yeah, Morioh has a purgatory world. This town is weird. Now, Reimi and her dog were actually bound spirits that can't leave to the afterlife because they have some unfinished business to attend to. And that is actually connected to her murder, which she tells Rohan and Koichi about it. One night she heard a dripping noise coming from the outside of her room, but she wasn't scared because Arnold, her dog, was with her under the bed. However, she was curious about the dripping noise, so she went out to see where it was coming from and what was causing it. The dripping sound was blood coming from the dead body of her dog, whose neck was sliced really deep to the point that his head was like hanging off from the stump of his neck, and his body was hung on a coat rack. Yeah. So, if Arnold was the dead body, then who was underneath Reimi's bed? Well, it turns out to be the killer. He killed Reimi by stabbing her on the back. At least that's what it was implied. So apparently, if you die because of certain physical wounds, you still get those wounds when you're a ghost, which explains Arnold's deep cut. But with Reimi's wound, we don't actually see it. It was shown to Koichi and Rohan, but we don't see the wound itself. We know that it was a long, deep wound. That's all we know about it. But anyway, according to Reimi, her killer is still at large in Morioh, and it has been 15 years since that happened. And remember back way in episode 3 and 4 that there are these disappearances in Morioh? We know that some of them were caused by Angelo and Keicho, but the rest of them? They were caused by Reimi's killer. So Reimi's killer has been responsible for some of these disappearances, and that's been going on for 15 years. Reimi, even though she was helpless as a ghost, has been trying for 15 years to get someone to hear her story and hopefully convince said person to find this killer and stop him from all these murders. I mean, all she wanted to do was try to protect her town, save her town, really. And Koichi, you know, being the nice guy as he is, wants to help out. As for Rohan, he doesn't really want to get involved, but considering that this might be some good info and inspiration for his manga, sure, why not? Yeah, that's the thing with the Rohan. Whenever it comes to morality, he's neither white nor black, he's kind of gray. He's mostly in it for himself when it comes to these kinds of things, but he does have a certain kind of understanding as to what the person is going through, sort of, but he still comes off as a selfish prick. Not only that, but in this episode, he kind of comes off as a pervert too, because we get to see him use his stand Heaven's Door on Reimi under the assumption that she was an enemy stand user. And speaking of Heaven's Door, we actually get to see its humanoid form, which was cool. Although, it begs the question if Rohan can still use the manuscript like he did in his debut, but I guess not, because maybe his stand evolved to the point where its ability doesn't require the manuscript. And funny thing is about Heaven's Door's appearance is that It's actually one of his characters from his manga Pink Dark Boy, so yeah. Anyway, when he used Heaven's Door to read through Reimi's info, he read some info that is completely private and not really necessary to know. Rohan, what the fuck, man? Anyway, the two do agree to help, or at least investigate these disappearances and murders. So Reimi tells them the way out and leads them to the exit, but there is a catch. Once they pass the post box and turn the corner, they have to keep going to the exit and not turn around. If they do turn around, then these hands that come out of these shadows will grab onto them, pull them apart, and their souls, and they'll die. What? Yeah, that actually happened. It nearly tried to kill Koichi, but luckily Rohan used Heaven's Door to blind him and push him back until he was out of the way. Seriously, what the fuck was up with those hands? Like, where did they come from? Are they like from an evil spirit? And why would there be an evil spirit that would try to trick a person who's trying to leave purgatory so that the spirit will like pull out their souls? In fact, like the hands actually pulled out Koichi's stand, which was really weird. So yeah, is this like based off of something from Japan that I'm missing? Or is this just something that Araki came up with and it's never really going to be explained? Or is this just a part of a system for purgatory? I still don't get why there is a purgatory deserted neighborhood in Morioh, but hey, Morioh's weird. So, yeah. Look, I know it's Jojo, there's gonna be a lot of weird stuff that happens there, but every time, there's always something that exceeds the bizarreness and the weirdness. And in this case, it's this ghost purgatory world with these hands that try to pull out your souls. If you guys have any explanations about this, I really do appreciate that. Thank you. But anyway, it seems that Rohan has more of a connection to this because it turns out that Reimi was actually Rohan's neighbor and babysitter, and he was actually there on that night when Reimi was killed. So how did he survive? Well, when he spent the night at Reimi's house, and he was only like 4 years old, Reimi pushed Rohan out the window so that he would escape and not get killed. So Reimi saved Rohan. Yeah, that was a surprising twist in all this. I mean, I had no idea Rohan had this kind of connection. Then again, I mean, he was 4 years old at the time, so he wouldn't have remembered something like that, especially if it was very traumatizing. It actually explains how Reimi was acting towards Rohan, even calling him Rohan-chan. So yeah, Rohan is very much connected to the actual main plot of part 4. He better help out Reimi with this one. I mean, he owes her one. If he doesn't, then he's a fucking asshole. I'm just saying, but I know he's going to help out. But we get an even greater surprise later on when Koichi tells Josuke no Kiyasu about Reimi. Josuke does bring up an important question in all this. Is the killer a stand user? Because let's face it, they're not going to get involved in something that isn't stand user related, especially not Joseph, the Speed Biking Foundation, and even Jotaro. So Josuke's advice to Koichi is to let the police handle it. I mean, it's not like they're going to meet this guy right away. They met him right away because Koichi nearly gets run over by a car. And who is driving the car but none other than the killer itself? But it's not just any killer, it is Kira, the main antagonist, finally making his debut in the anime. Holy shit, I was not expecting that at all. If you've seen my reaction to the episode, you know how I reacted to it. Quite the surprise, really. Now, I do agree with Josuke in a way, but here's the thing. This guy has been at large for 15 years, and there's these disappearances and no clues whatsoever, so clearly it has to be the work of an enemy stand, right? This guy must be very good because he's a stand user, which is why the police, unfortunately, didn't get any leads on the guy. So yeah, definitely a stand user, but I do get where Josuke is coming from. Then again, I mean, wouldn't they at least try to help at least a bit for Reimi, even if they didn't know if the serial killer is a stand user? Which, by the way, Toshikazu is right yet again. Stand users are drawn to other stand users. It's too bad they didn't realize who that was, but then again, that would have been like way too easy, way too soon, you know? But going back to Kira's debut, I've heard many things about his little hand fetish, and seeing this for real and not like in those teasers that we've gotten lately is just so creepy and weird. I mean, he talks to his severed hands like they're actually real girls, you know? And it seems like he actually does go on dates with them. And this one scene, Kira used the severed hand to clean up the blood stain on the seat of his car. And you can actually hear the bones cracking. Like, goddamn, that was very creepy. I mean, he even carries a purse with the hand. I mean, that's just so weird. Oh, and by the way, his name Kira literally means killer in Japanese. Like, can you be any more obvious? So yeah, that was episode 17 of Diamond is Unbreakable. Overall, I thought this was a good episode. A little bit slower than some of the other episodes, but it's because this episode has officially established the main true plot to Part 4 Diamond is Unbreakable, which I'm really glad that they got the main plot finally kicking in. Although, I do hope that the bow and arrow will be involved in some way, because it would be a bit of a bummer if the bow and arrow is not involved in the main plot, in the actual main plot. I mean, it's an ancient artifact that can give people stands. I mean, it's gotta be connected in some way to Kira. Maybe that's how Kira got his stand. He got hit by the arrow. And speaking of Kira's stand, it's not revealed yet, which is clearly obvious that he does have a stand, by the way. It's not really a spoiler. But I'm pretty sure it will be revealed again later on when he does appear. I'm not sure when. Hopefully real soon, because I want to see his stand because it's really cool. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Kira and to see the reveal of his stand. It's going to be really awesome. As for Reimi, I was completely off about her. I had no idea that she was a ghost. I thought she was a stand user, but no, she's just a regular girl who died and became a ghost. But I do gotta say, I do like her character. I think she's cool. It's weird. I mean, in this part, I like the female characters that aren't stand users, yet we get a female stand user and I don't like. That is very strange, but yeah. As for the ghost world, I'm not sure exactly what to call it, really. It's very strange because there's this world in Morioh and it just, I guess it just appears whenever it needs to or something. Like, I'm not sure. I just have like a lot of questions about this place. And it's in Morioh, but are there other purgatory worlds in other places of the world? Is Reimi the only one there? I mean, it would have been cool if we'd gotten to see the ghosts of previous characters that have died, but I guess not, because they moved on to the afterlife, so yeah, no chance in that. It would have been cool though, I'm just saying, but nah. But what bugged me about this place was the shadows and the hands. I mean, they were trying to trick Rohan and Koichi to turn around, and it nearly succeeded. I mean, it nearly killed Koichi, but luckily Rohan used Heaven's Door. But I don't get what was up with those things. I mean, is this part of something from Japan that I'm missing? I mean, what the hell? It was just so weird to me. There were some pretty funny and strange scenes in the episode. For example, the Pocky fortune telling and Koichi getting scared and holding on to Rohan. I thought it was pretty funny. And also him getting dragged along by Rohan. I mean, he was literally like flying from Rohan's grip. I mean, what the hell? Also, I feel really sorry for Koichi. There was also this other funny scene when Koichi was talking about Reimi. Okuyasu has like a picture of her and he's just like staring at it and he instantly like fell in love with Reimi. It's just so weird. God damn it. I gotta love Okuyasu. Animation and artwork I thought was pretty good, especially like how the hands were animated and those shadows that were following them. I thought that was pretty cool. Voice acting also again was pretty good. Now, unfortunately, Rikiya Koyama, who voiced Kira in the video games, didn't voice him in the anime, unfortunately, but they did get Toshiyuki Morikawa, who, fun fact, actually voiced a character in the video games, Diavolo from Part 5 Morioh, who's also the main antagonist of Part 5. So, Diavolo is voicing Kira instead of Kira. But he also voiced several other characters. You probably know him best as Naraku from Inuyasha, Minato Namikaze, Naruto's father from Naruto Shippuden, Isshin Kurosaki and Kaname Tosen from Bleach, Margear from Fairy Tail, Griffith from the 90s Berserk anime, Joey Wheeler aka Jonochi from the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Funny thing is actually about that, Takehiro Sakurai, who voiced Rohan, also voiced Griffith in the Golden Age movies of Berserk, and he voiced Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. So you have two Griffiths and Cloud and Sephiroth in this series. Yeah, pretty weird really, but pretty funny in a way. As for Reimi, she's voiced by Sayuri Hara, who has voiced several supporting characters from Love Live, Idolmaster, and Pretty Rhythm. So yeah, overall another good episode of JoJo. Very strange one. A lot of questions about that purgatory ghost town world place. And we finally got the main plot to Diamond Unbreakable rolling. Now, the next episode is going to be part 1 of Shigechi's Harvest, so we're going to be introduced to that little spiky-headed, chubby guy and his stand, which is obviously called Harvest. It's not really a spoiler who Shigechi is because, well, he was one of the characters that was featured in the opening. So unless that one woman with Yukako is Shigechi, no, it's definitely the short spiky-headed guy. I don't get why he has spikes on his head, but yeah. So yeah, tell me guys, what did you think of this episode of Diamond is Unbreakable? Did you like it? Did you hate it? How did you react to Kira's debut? What did you think about this strange ghost purgatory world place? And what do you think of Reimi so far? I do feel sorry for her very much, but hopefully things will work out for her in the end, and I actually do think she's a pretty cool character. So tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to more videos, and be sure to check out my Facebook fan page and Google+. So yeah, that was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, episode 17. I'm Lunar Spiral 27, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.